Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Happy New Year! All right, so this is our New Year's episode, the final episode, or the ultimate episode of 2017. And we thought, what better way to celebrate the new year than say, hey, if you're going to throw a party, what kind of beers should you have for your New Year's Eve celebration?
Or more, what's a good alternative to champagne?
Sure, we can go that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but both work.
Yep.
All right. And so we both picked a beer, as we do, and we said, hey, what would you like to toast the new year with?
Yes.
And we both kind of went in different directions.
Well, not too different.
Well, yeah, we kind of both ended up in the same light fizzy area. Neither one of us went with a stout this time.
No.
Could have just easily gone with the stout. Could have gone with there's a lot of fun stouts out there. Maybe you want to bring out something like you've been aging for a while, something special that you wanted to celebrate the new year with as your first beer of the year. But we went stroke of midnight. What do you want to toast with? And I think we picked two interesting beers to go with.
Yes.
All right. So I picked the Rodenbach Alexander, which is a mature ale with sour cherries. It's the 2016 edition. I don't know if they've done one for 2017 or not.
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't think they did, but it could have been.
Rodenbach Alexander was it was done for the U.S. market in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, it was 20 years previous that they put this out. So 2000 or 1996. Yeah, 1996. And then they did it again. Last time they did it. They did it again in 2016.
Yeah.
So this is quite young, I would say.
Yes.
So it's the original sour ale aged in Foeders. Foeders. I always want to say Foeders because it's Foeders. So it Foeders.
It's a Flemish red.
Yeah, it's a Flemish red.
Yeah.
And I'm it's one of my favorite beer styles. Yeah. I will always, if I see that on tap, I'll always go for that.
Well, it's like the Duchesse de Bourgogne. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Which one? The one with the woman on the cover?
Yes.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And this comes in this is a blend of 2/3 aged Rodenbach, which is a 2-year-old aged beer, with a third young ale macerated with sour cherries.
Yep.
Right. And so we had this last year when it came out fresh.
Yep.
And it was pretty raw.
It was pretty sweet when it came out.
It was extremely sweet. And I think it lacked a lot of character to it.
Yeah.
And this is one that I think...
this one's definitely going to benefit from aging.
Yeah. At a year old, I think it's still probably way too young. It's probably not going to start hitting a sweet spot until about 7 years, maybe.
Oh, 7? I would say more like 3 or 4.
3 or 4? You think that's going to be a sweet spot?
I think that's going to be good. Yeah.
No, I would say 5.
Okay. 7 and 5.
Well, you know what? I would say, yeah, it's got a few years on it still. I don't think I don't think 20 will cover the distance, but
you've got a couple of more bottles still, so we'll
try
it again soon.
I bought several of these, and so we can try one in another couple of years and see how it goes. But I think it'll be interesting to see how it does in a year on, because it was quite sweet. Yeah. It was a bit raw, I think.
Yeah.
First out, and I think that the Flemish Reds and this one is going to really age out quite nicely.
Yes.
All right, so let's dig into this. It's
like a muddy red.
Yeah. The color again
brown.
Does not speak well of it. It is not one of those.
It's not a beautiful beer.
No, it's not. But you get a lot of sweet cherries on the nose.
Yeah, and that's also the one thing that put me off from buying this was that it was incredibly sweet when we tried it on tap.
Yeah. You get a real, almost cherry cola kind of nose to it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that given a couple more years, it's going to really mellow and
because usually the
wind down a bit.
Yeah, and usually the Rodenbachs are quite heavy on the acetic acid.
Yeah,
like the vinegary acid,
which is what I love about them.
Yeah, exactly. But this one isn't.
No, it's not. It's much heavier on the sweetness.
Yeah.
Than what you normally get. Because we did the 2010.
The vintage
2010 last year, and that was
at the same time as the Alexander was released. We tried the vintage 2010, we had the Grand Cru, and we had the Alexander.
Well, it was the Grand Cru 2010. Now we did it at Mikkeller. We have the creative hand from a creative director from Tired Hands and Mikkeller joint collab, because we did it at Mikkeller, and then we did the because they had a vertical of the Rodenbach Grand Cru.
Yes, true.
And we did the 2010, and then we did the 2017 at the same time.
Yeah.
And you could really tell the difference between the two. I mean, you could see where Rodenbach really gets better with age.
Yeah.
I mean, it really...
But we tried it again at Bishop Savoy.
We didn't try the Alexander at that point. We tried the Alexander at Savoy when it came out later.
Yeah.
But it was really close to each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was...
was fall of 2016.
No, it had to been spring of 2016.
Really?
Because we did the no, technically it would have been spring of 2017 when we did the
must have been
Mikkeller brewery experience, because that was when I was looking back at what we did this year, it was part of that list. But I believe this came out 2016 because I wrote 2016 on the label. That's how we know. Exactly. This came out a few months before, so this came out at the end of 2016.
All right, let's see. So I've checked in the 2016 Alexander 3 times. And the first time was in, let's see here. Well, I can only see, no, here we go. So it was November 2016.
Sounds about right.
We had it at Bishop's Arms.
Yep.
Yeah. I gave it a 3.5.
Okay.
On tap.
And then you tried it 2 more times?
Tried it on bottle 2 more times. Give it a 3.75 on bottle. And then had it on bottle again in February 2017. I believe that was at your place. And then I gave it a 3.25. So it actually turned worse. So we'll see what it's like now.
All right, we'll see. It's a little over a year old now.
Yep.
So cheers.
Cheers. I gotta say, it's still not...
Still too sweet for you?
Yeah.
See, I quite like it. I get the vinegary Oude Bruin from it, the Flemish red from it. I think it's a good base beer. I think the cherries are still a little too raw. It's too sweet, a little too fresh.
It's way too sweet still.
But I think it would be a fun beer to drink at midnight on a New Year.
It would probably still be fun, yeah.
Yeah. But it gives you that kind of champagne-y experience. Like a sweet champagne, kind of.
I think it would give you the same champagne experience if you put strawberries in your champagne.
Okay.
I think that's where you're headed with this.
Is that where I'm going?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're wrong. No, I'm having a hard time with this because I like Rodenbach a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the Grand Cru, as I said before, is one of the first Belgian sours that I ever had. And I think that's the one that introduced me to Belgian sours. And I really enjoy it. And I still enjoy it. But this one is just like, it's I don't know if it's like the American market likes the sweet sours more.
It could be. It kind of almost reminds me of the Mort Sabut.
Yeah.
Which is a sweet lambic.
Yeah.
But it's not as cloyingly sweet as that was.
No, it's not. I mean, you still get some of the vinegary notes from this one, but it just dissipates so quick. I mean, you get a lot of flavor just as you put it in your mouth, but it just goes away so fast.
Yeah, it goes away. It ends a little dry, but then it's got a sweetness to it at the end. It's a little sugary, I guess. It's a little too much like white sugar.
Yeah,
kind of flavor to it. No, I feel you. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
However, I don't hate it. I don't hate it because of that.
I don't hate it, but it's not.
It's not what it could be. It's not what you want it to be.
Yeah.
I understand I still understand where you're getting from.
It's not what I want from a Flemish red.
Yeah, I think the cherries, I want it to be more sour.
Yeah.
And for a mature ale, just me coming back and throat there. For a mature ale with sour cherries,
it's too sweet.
It's about 3 notches too sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were to graduate sweetness, it feels like it needs to be about half as sweet as it is to start with.
Yeah.
And then it needs to get another half as sweet as that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm probably still going to be a 3.25 on this.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fun beer. I really still like it. I will give it a 3.75.
Yeah.
I think that this needs to age for a few more years. I'm still feeling 5 to 7 is probably going to be where the sweet spot is.
You might not be wrong on that, actually.
Because of the sweetness of it.
Yeah.
It still feels very, very young and very, very fresh.
Yeah.
And I think for it to round out and kind of really get into its
own.
Yeah, get into that maturation that you're looking for with that. I think it needs
a lot more time.
It needs a lot more time in the bottle. But if you have a bottle of it,
if you have a 96 bottle of it, by all means, bring it out for New Year's.
If you have a 96 bottle of it, by all means, you should probably sell it because you can get a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
But if you feel that that's not the way you want to go, you want to drink it, you probably should have drank it before now. You definitely want to bring that out. But I would say for a New Year's Eve bottle, it's still a fun beer. I don't think a lot of people would have tried.
It still works.
It works. You've probably already had a lot of other things to drink at that point, so it's just kind of icing on the cake. I would definitely still recommend this as a New Year's Eve bottle. And but if you're a collector and you're thinking about aging it more, you would
leave
do
it in
well
the cellar.
to leave it in the cellar for a few more years.
Yeah.
But I'm going to enjoy the rest of this while I have it.
Of course. Definitely.
Okay, so what'd you bring out?
I since I'm a sucker for the Oude Geuzes, I actually brought out a Boone and Mikkeller collaboration, Oude Geuze. It's their second collaboration, the one that was aged in calvados barrels. And I mean, there was a lot of controversy on the first one because
is this the first one or the what?
This is the second collaboration.
One.
Yeah. Because I think the first one wasn't aged in calvados barrels. And I would assume that this is kind of prominently displayed as being aged in calvados barrels to kind of avoid the controversy that came with the first release of
what was the controversy of the first release?
Well, the first one came out as the Mikkeller and Boone bone dry Oude Geuze. Mm-hmm. Had a yellow label on the bottle.
Just smelling this, it is bone dry.
Oh yeah, it's probably still going to be very dry.
Yeah. It's not often you can like smell dryness in a beer, but like this just smells almost like a little dusty.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, so the controversy around the first one was that Boone released their first edition of Black Label at the same time, and a lot of people thought that the Mikkeller and Boone collaboration and the Boone Black Label was the same beer. Mm-hmm. So it actually went to the lengths that Rate Beer merged the two beers into one. But in the end, there was a whole ton of discussion about it. I'm not going to go into all the details on it, but there was a lot of different opinions and thoughts on it. But in the end, it turns out that the two beers were blended from the same lambics, mm-hmm. but it's different portion of those lambics in those two beers. Okay. So it is two different beers, but apparently Rate Beer thought it was enough to be the same beer, so they merged the two. Okay. But it is two different beers. But this is the second iteration of that. or well, not iteration, but it's a second collaboration between Boone and Mikkeller. And this was done in Calvados barrels. It's still an Oude Geuze.
And Calvados is an apple brandy.
I have no idea. I'll take your word for it.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, this is actually the first time I'm having it.
You had Calvados before?
I'm sure I've had,
Okay.
but I did not look into the origin of it.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, since I'm a sucker for Oude Geuze, and it's one of my favorite beer styles. It's something that I enjoy drinking.
Oh yes, of course. You are the Geuze master, as I refer to you.
It's probably like the only substitute for champagne for New Year's Eve that I would see.
I would say the Bière de Champagne, which is like the Win Ale the Mikkeller puts out.
Yeah.
Also a good substitute.
Well, it's a beer. It's a beer fermented with champagne yeast. So
yeah. aged in the champagne manner, which is a beautiful beer. If you haven't had the Win Ale from Mikkeller, man, that is it's really a great beer. That's probably one of my favorite Mikkeller beers.
Yeah.
And quite a steal too. I mean, if you find it, it's usually at a pretty good price range. I'm always surprised at how cheap it is, because I expect it to always be about 20 Danish more than what I see it for. So
yeah. No, but this is since it's my favorite beer style, then this is what I'm going to bring out.
And what I like about this is you could serve this almost in champagne flutes and people wouldn't know the difference, because you've got these beautiful champagne bubbles just floating up through it.
Yeah.
It's a bit darker than a champagne, but it definitely looks like a champagne release within the glass. And the smell is just this super dry Geuze smell to it.
It smells amazing.
Yeah, and if you like Geuze and you like that smell, you're really going to find the sweet spot. If you don't like it, you probably are going to be out. But actually, before you take a sip, it's had a beautiful head retention on this. Yeah, I'm quite amazed at the head retention on the glass, because a lot of stuff that we pour, it dissipates really quickly, but this has kept this foamy, like maybe 2 or 3 millimeter head of foam on it the entire time.
Well, it doesn't go away.
And it drinks just beautifully.
It is super dry.
Yeah, but it's dry, but it's not bone dry. Like I was expecting it to be just dries your mouth out kind of dryness.
It's not as dry as the first collaboration they did.
More you want to say? You just kind of stop there. It's almost like you're about to go somewhere and you just like pause, like for dramatic.
Well, I had to think about it for a little bit. It's not as dry as the first collaboration, but I also feel like it's not as complex as the first one either. I mean, it's basically, it does what it says on the tin, but it's not much more than that.
Yeah, I would say this is a really pleasant, drinkable beer.
Yeah,
but you're right; it doesn't give you much.
No. I would say, I mean, Geuze-wise, it's probably on like for me at least, it's on like the lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, if you compare it to Boone's regular Geuze, it's like the Mariage Parfait and stuff like that, then the Mariage Parfait has a lot more complexity to it. Even, of course, the Driefonteinen, I would rate that higher than this as well. It's still really, really nice Geuze, but I feel like it's lacking a little bit.
It's just missing a level of complexity to it.
Yeah.
It's fairly simple. It's drinkable, it's nice, but like there's no aftertaste really.
Yeah, it leaves you wanting a little bit more.
Yeah. It just kind of like, you're gonna drink it, you're gonna be like, yeah, it's good, but I don't get anything from it at all. Like I couldn't say like, oh, it's fruity or it's sour or it's none of those things really.
No, you don't get much of like the barnyard funk or anything from it. It's
you get in the smell. Like it smells beautiful. It smells like, oh my god, this is going to give me like a lot of flavor, but it's really effervescent in the mouth. There's a little bit of sourness, a little bit of funk, But then it just dies.
Dissipates really quick.
Yeah,
too.
It just goes away.
Yeah. I think the smell of it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah. I think this is one of those cases where the smell has you expecting like this bold beer.
Yeah.
And this is not that bold beer. I mean, it's very pleasant. It's extremely drinkable. I mean, you could drink this because you're not overpowered by any flavors. So therefore, you can just keep drinking it, and it tastes great. But
it's just it's lacking that extra little step.
Yeah, I don't get any addition of the calvados to it.
Yeah, no.
Like if you hadn't told me it was barrel aged in any way, I would never guess that.
Well, I mean, every Geuze is barrel aged, right? So, but it's always, I guess, different barrels.
Right, but there's no oakiness. There's no like sweetness from the brandy. There's no addition to this that.
I mean, the Calvados barrels just don't add anything to it.
No, not in this particular case.
No.
But I mean, Calvados is extremely fragrant and sweet brandy, so I would expect to have a little more complexity to this. But I think the dryness is so overpowering in this that it just cuts out any sweetness at all.
It might be, yeah. Still, it's a nice Geuze, but it's for me, it's on the lower end of my spectrum of Geuze that I've tried.
I would have to agree with you on this one. I think it is on the. It's a good gateway Geuze. Like if no one's ever tried a Geuze before and you're given this, I think they would be like, "Oh, this is interesting and different." And
because it's not aggressively sour or anything.
Like so, for instance, for Christmas, I brought the Dre-Fonteinen 2017 Oude Geuze, and that's really raw. It's pretty aggressive.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit sour. It's kind of harsh.
Well, for someone who hasn't tried Geuze before, then it's all those things that you just said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even for someone who had Geuze before, it's still like all those things. I think that's a beer that needs to put a couple of years on the shelf before you drink it. But whereas this is kind of a banal entry. I mean, it's really
call it a gateway Geuze.
Milquetoast in that. It's a very entry level Geuze, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. No. But if you're drinking at midnight and you're toasting with this, I think it would go really well because you would quite enjoy it. But if you were to open a bottle to impress your friends, I don't think they would be, especially if they were Geuze friends, if they were familiar with Geuze.
Yeah,
I think they'd be a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially with the names of Mikkeller and Boone on the label.
I mean, it sets up a certain expectation.
It does. It does set the bar rather high.
Yeah. It doesn't really live up to that bar.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully we'll see another collaboration from Mikkeller and Boone in 2018.
I'm sure we will.
Well, we'll see.
I'm sure we will.
Probably.
I would be surprised if they don't.
Yeah. And we'll see what that brings out.
Yeah. And so have you had the 2017?
I think this is the 2017.
Oh, is it? Okay. So the first year was 2016.
Yeah.
And then the 2017 is this year. And it's 6.4% alcohol, so it's not.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if we said the
5.6
on the Alexander Rodenbach. So neither one of these are really high ABVs. So that means they're very drinkable and very easygoing.
Yeah. So it's easier to drink than champagne as well.
Yeah, which usually comes in at 14%. Yeah, something 12, 13.
12, 14.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
So, are you looking forward to New Year?
Sure.
The 2018, you expect great things?
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
All right. You're not working with me here, man. I'm trying to drum a conversation, and you're just like, yeah, well, okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay. So, looking back on the year, have you enjoyed the podcast?
Yes, I have.
Has it been fun?
It has been fun.
All right.
Have you?
I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I've grown as a beer drinker. I have experienced a lot of new things. I've made a lot of new friends and met a great number of people.
Yeah.
I would say socially, beer has brought me
joy.
A lot of joy and a lot of interesting conversations over the year, and met a ton of great brewers from different parts of the world, from China to U.S. and Italy and
New Zealand,
and just all over the place. So it's been really great in that respect. I look forward to the new year and what grand adventures will go on. I'm sure there will be many.
Actually, you're a lot better at me than looking forward to the new year.
Man, it's always new possibilities. I'm always excited about that. 2017, we put that behind us. It's gone. It's dead to us.
It's been great. It's gone.
Right. So now we look ahead to the future, and the future brings us new possibilities, ripe with new experiences and experiments and new brewing potentials. And I think that we're going to
moving on to bigger and better things.
We're having a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be really good.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So, what do you rate the Mikkeller Geuze?
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.75.
I am going to give it a 3.5.
Yep. Sounds about fair.
Yep. I think both of these would be quite a fun addition to any holiday festivities, and you will not be disappointed. I hope that whatever beer you choose to bring out for the new year is going to inspire you to do bigger and better and greater things. I look forward to everyone's Instagram posts.
Yes.
Because that's been quite a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed looking at everyone's Instagram post over the past year, and especially the past week. People have been bringing out some really great beers.
Yeah,
been very jealous.
We should put out a little New Year's beer hashtag. We should have a What's on Tap New Year hashtag.
All right. So what's it going to be?
What's going to be What's on Tap New Year?
What's on Tap New Year?
Yeah.
All right.
So if you want to show us what you've been drinking for New Year's Eve, hashtag it with What's on Tap New Year.
What's on Tap New Year. And we would love to see what you guys are drinking this year or New Year's Eve, and what you think is your perfect New Year's Eve beer.
Yes.
All right. Well, so cheers. Happy New Year. All right, guys. As always, follow us on what'sontap.podcast.com.
Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah.
And iTunes, and wherever you listen to your podcast.
Yes.
We hope you enjoy us, and thank you for 2017, and we hope that 2018 will be another amazing year. As always, keep drinking.